We will neither confirm nor deny any deployments. We will train as we see fit, and the Philippine Armed Forces will equip as it sees fit.
Thousands of U.S. Marines, dozens of tanks, mountains of equipment, and one historic port, Subic Bay, Philippines. What you're watching isn't just another military exercise. It's a statement, a signal to the world. The United States has landed, and it's not just passing through. Why thousands of U.S. Marines just landed in the Philippines. In the early hours of the morning, with the horizon barely lit, the calm waters of Subic Bay were disturbed by a rising tide, not of nature but of steel. Multiple U.S. Navy cargo ships arrived in formation, escorted by destroyers and support vessels. Their cargo? Abrams tanks, amphibious assault vehicles, mobile rocket launchers, and thousands of boots set to hit the ground running. But why here? Why now? Subic Bay is no stranger to American military power. For nearly a century, it served as one of the largest overseas military bases of the U.S. Navy. It was a hub of Pacific operations during World War II, the Cold War, and even during the Gulf War. But in 1992, the U.S. pulled out, leaving the base behind. Now, 3 decades later, the tide has turned again. This re-entry isn't just symbolic. Subic Bay lies at the edge of one of the most contested bodies of water in the world, the South China Sea, a flashpoint of tension between China and several Southeast Asian nations, especially the Philippines. By returning, the U.S. sends a message, both to allies and adversaries. Let's break it down. More than 4,500 U.S. Marines from the IUI Marine Expeditionary Force arrived as part of joint training operations with the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Among their arsenal, M1A2 Abrams tanks, LAV-25 armored reconnaissance vehicles, HIM and ARS rocket artillery, ALTVs and Humvees for tactical mobility, portable radar systems and air defense batteries. And it's not just land forces. Overhead, F-35Bs from nearby carriers conducted simulated airstrikes, while MV-22 Ospreys and CH-53 Super Stallions moved personnel and cargo inland at record speed. This is in preparation for a battle. It's a blueprint for rapid deployment, anywhere, anytime. Officially, this is a military exercise, part of the annual Balakitan drills between the U.S. and the Philippines. Unofficially, many experts believe this show of force is a clear response to China's growing military footprint in the region. Just weeks earlier, Chinese Coast Guard vessels reportedly harassed Filipino fishing boats near Scarborough Shoal. Only 124 nautical miles from Subic Bay. Coincidence? Or calculated timing? Military analysts see this as a strategic counterbalance. While China builds artificial islands and deploys missile systems, the U.S. and Philippines are strengthening ties once again. This time with real hardware, not just promises. In Manila, the response has been mixed. Some Filipinos welcome the renewed partnership, seeing it as a necessary deterrent against Chinese aggression. Others worry about sovereignty, fearing the country is becoming a pawn in a superpower standoff. Internationally, allies like Japan and Australia have expressed support. Meanwhile, Beijing has condemned the move. But here's the reality.
It is the U.S. side that has repeatedly fabricated false propositions about China's threat to freedom of navigation and overflight in the South China Sea.
Power abhors a vacuum, and in the South China Sea, every square mile is contested. This is just the beginning. Subic Bay may once again become a permanent fixture in U.S. military logistics. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, is expanding, with more sites across the Philippines being open to American forces. Massive U.S. military arrival sparks global attention. A major deployment of U.S. military forces recently landed at Subic Bay, Philippines, thousands of U.S. Marines disembarked alongside a formidable convoy of tanks, armored vehicles, and heavy equipment. This show of force signals a renewed focus on military cooperation and regional presence in Southeast Asia. Strategic move amid rising tensions in the Indo-Pacific. The deployment comes amid growing regional tension, particularly in the South China Sea. Positive response from the Philippine government. Philippine officials have welcomed the arrival. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. emphasized the importance of alliances in maintaining sovereignty and security. Local communities in Subic are also seeing economic benefits, with jobs and infrastructure spending on the rise. Regional reactions mixed but predictable. Neighboring countries are watching closely. Allies such as Japan and Australia have expressed support for the move. However, China has issued warnings and criticized what it calls provocative military actions. The deployment could shift the balance of power in ongoing maritime disputes. Public support and strategic partnerships growing.
These efforts are especially important as the People's Republic of China continues to advance its illegitimate claims in the West Philippine Sea.
Public opinion in the Philippines leans towards supporting U.S. presence, especially in areas vulnerable to external threats. The military alliance is strengthening, and talks are ongoing about expanding joint capabilities, including cyber defense and intelligence sharing. More deployments expected in the coming weeks. This may only be the beginning. Sources indicate that more forces and equipment will arrive in the coming weeks. This signals a longer-term commitment and possibly the establishment of a semi-permanent rotational force based in the Philippines. Conclusion: a pivotal moment in Pacific defense posture. The arrival of thousands of U.S. Marines and heavy military equipment at Subic Bay is a significant development. It highlights the shifting dynamics of power and alliance in the Asia-Pacific. As the geopolitical landscape evolves, such deployments will play a crucial role in shaping peace, deterrence, and preparedness in the region.
When we say combined arms, it's combining air assets, ground assets, and all the different capabilities that they offer, and synchronizing those assets at a given point in time and space.
As tensions rise in Taiwan, as disputes grow over contested reefs and shoals, and as nations choose sides, Subic Bay stands as a front line not just for the Philippines, but for the future of Indo-Pacific stability. So the question remains, is this the rebirth of an old alliance, or the spark of something far bigger? If you found this breakdown informative, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into global military strategy. Leave a comment. What do you think the U.S. is planning next in the Pacific? This story is just beginning.